Our guest is in the studio. Joining us is our very Reverend Father Benjamin Chinedu, who is the Vicar for Youth Catholic Diocese of Enugu State. Of course, conversation is on topic and Neo Paganism, a concern for today's youth. Good evening, Father, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Good evening, and thank you very much.
Nice to have you with us.
Thank you so much for choosing me.
Thank you. Okay, of course. Okay, so just before we have this particular conversation, what exactly is Neo Paganism?
Okay, thank you for the question. Paganism is originally an idea that somebody cannot conceive God or does not believe in God. But over time, it started taking the shape of the fact that somebody worships an idol. So this worship of idolatry, this idolatry now becomes what they look at as tradition. Now, the idea of neo-paganism, the new attached to it is indicating that something is new, a new trend of paganism, a new trend of tradition, a kind of revamping the old ways of worshiping idols. It is a resurgence. It is a reawakening, a rebirth, a renaissance of the way people worshipped idols, or what they generally look at, omenana, ordinana, tradition. So neo-paganism is about the new methods, the different ways which people, especially the youth of these days, go about what they look at as tradition.
Okay, so you still mentioning the youth now. Do you think the youths of our days now may be attracted, this whole new paganism thing may be appealing to them? Because why I asked the question is looking at back then, from the Bible, it seems the whole religious and godly thing is still like our fathers and mothers are the ones upholding it, and it seems the youths are much more attracted to the modern day life. Do you think the youths are more appealing to this new paganism?
Yes, I think the youth move towards that, though erroneously.
Okay.
Because if you look at tradition as tradition, tradition quatale, that is tradition as such, if you look at it, you notice that what they do today in the name of neo-paganism is not even traditional. Because our people have good values, traditions that are okay, respect for elders, respect for life. So there's no question of euthanasia, mercy killing. We have concept of brotherhood. This brotherhood is not secret cult, but the fact that we are brothers, we are of one stock, we cannot harm one another. We have this sense of sincerity, sense of hospitality, sense of time. These are traditional values that make a lot of sense. But today, you notice that our youth deviated, such that this thing they call tradition now is taking dimensions that are inimical even to the gods. Killings, ritual killings, raping the minor. Some people go to the extent of raping their mothers, their siblings. What in our traditional context are called nsani. Ihana de eku, ihana de eme, ekuta akata. Things you do not mention. Abominations. But now look, that's what the young generation is looking at, parts of tradition. And that's what they call, that in their own concept, in their own way of looking at things, they are doing omenani, tradition. It's not tradition.
Okay, so what we understand that youths move with trend. You have new trends every day. Things have changed from 20 years ago to now. You could see visible changes. What exactly are the factors that are driving youth into this new paganism system?
Very wonderful. I love the question. The things that are happening, what is happening is that majority of us have actually left what should be our duties, beginning from parents. Parents are not living up to expectations when you talk about formation, because parents should be the first formators in the lives of their children. And so today you see parents supporting their children for what we look at today as miracle centers, paying for them to go to one village to take exams. In this sense, this youth is losing what we call dignity of labor. This youth does not understand anything about working hard. Then you look at cult of mediocrity. In schools, lecturers, some lecturers are not getting it. They're not getting it because the idiots get first class because they can either sacrifice themselves or pay money, but the really intelligent ones get anything. Then you also look at the perspective of preachers, the pastors, sometimes the priests, the way we present the word of God to our people. We push it to them that when you receive Jesus Christ as our personal Lord and Savior, all your problems end. It's not true. Jesus did not promise that. Jesus never promised that when you believe in him, all problems will end. And this youth, one of the things that is driving them to this thing they are doing is that they believe that God is delaying. God is delaying justice. God is not answering them quickly. That God should answer them immediately. And that's why they take the option B, looking for answers wherever they can find it. So there are a lot of factors. The government is also not helping matters sometimes. Sometimes. You see some persons on top who should provide opportunities for these young ones, because an idle man is a devil's workshop. When the young ones are not engaged, they engage themselves. And when they engage themselves wrongly, disaster becomes the consequence.
Okay, but then again, just from what you've answered now, some school of thought may want to argue what you just said now, because there are still people that are raised from families that the parents are not available to put them through and they still live right. There are still people that will still go to the same school, that lecturers are not, carrying out the right standards and they still live well. And there are people that are still faced with social media, the trends of life and what have you, and they still choose to do right, Can we say at the end of the day that this new paganism, it's about an individual choosing his or her own path, regardless of the directives or the lifestyle they started with from their childhood or what have you? Because we also come across stories where children, where their parents are pastors or, religious holders, position holders in churches. Somehow, most of them, in most cases, their children turn out to be different from the guidance, the lifestyle of their parents. So how can we now, come to the realization that this could also be that this neo-paganism from the angle of the youths, they are choosing their own footsteps for themselves, with or without the guidance of the parents or the society?
Life is about nature and nurture. There are some young ones who actually are nurtured and they are malleable, easily malleable. In other words, you can bend them easily. But some are not bent easily. The truth is that formation, like what we read in philosophy, some philosophers believe that the human mind is a tabula rasa, that's a blank slate. Yeah. Some believe that what you put there is what is there, and some believe that you have innate knowledge. To that extent, you notice that each of these guys that are doing these things are propelled, are moved, are informed by one thing or the other, because nature abhors vacuum. Either they are being sponsored, because in the Western world, some of them that are people there believe that their father's things are going, that they should revamp such things. And now they're sponsoring, some of them are sponsoring that our women should not go. And these people that are sponsoring are going about it wrongly. So it is not difficult for us to conclude that some people can understand easily, whereas others may not understand easily. But when you look at what we look at as advertisement, advert has a sense it puts into humanity. The idea that when you hear about a thing regularly in the media, most of the times, if you are not guided, if you are not protected, so to say, you notice that you start tilting towards this thing you hear every day. Yeah. So the whole question of that some persons may decide to do well in this perspective, and others have decided not to do well. It's all about nature and nurture, because some people naturally are good. Whereas, and these naturally good people would want to listen to pieces of advice that are easily corrected. Others are not easily corrected. It's not about whether their parents are there or not. So that's the way I look at it.
So it's how they are built.
It's how they are built and what they decide to engage themselves in. And probably because they were not guided well. Guidance is necessary in schools, in the churches. Like I said before now, what we preach matters a lot. The way we preach our gospel message. And exemplary life matters a lot also. Because when we become materialistic, these youths will be following us whether we like it or not. Our way of, the way we do our things, each person has a model. Each person has somebody he looks up to. As such, we must know that there are people who are easily corrected and there are others who are not.
Who are not. Okay, let's look at social media as another platform. And we understand that a whole lot happens on that space, you know. People have their day-to-day income from there. People have their leisure there. People do so many things on social media. Do you think that it has a big, you know, a big deal in this particular situation? Do you think it encourages this Neo Paganism system? Do you really think it has anything to do with social media?
In fact, if you ask me, I would say that social media has contributed 90% of what we are passing through in Neo Paganism. It's as simple as that, because before now, our people have this philosophy of Asia Fakego. Good name is better than silver and gold. And there's this thing I was talking to people about in the church. I said, our people have this proverb that ihe nwata ihe okenye tukwa n'afọ nwatakịrị rigo n'elu na ọma afịa. And now, okay, interpretation. What an adult sees sitting down, if a child climbs the house, on top of the house, this child will not hear it.
But it's not in all cases.
I'm telling you that I'm coming. This is my premise in this context. Now, I told them that this proverb has been outdated. It's now obsolete. It has been, it's anachronistic already. Because of phone, because of media, these children have seen what their parents never saw. The parents that have stayed decades. A child of 12, 13, 14, 6, 7, 8 years now has phones, and look at these things we are talking about. Somebody is bragging. There's a ceremony and somebody has brought out good quantity of money and is spreading. This child will ask himself, what am I doing here? Education is a scam. Christianity is a scam. They concluded that way, that education is a scam. Then he will ask himself, what am I doing here? And he will drop out from SS2, JS1, SS3, and get into Okite, get into Ibobo, get into making money quickly, whether it is ripe or not, cut it down. And so media has become a very big problem. In as much as media or different dimensions of media are there to help us, it has caused more harm than good when you look at Neo-Paganism as a case study.
Okay, still looking at Neo-Paganism, what are the common misconceptions, pertaining Neo-Paganism, and how can that be addressed? Because many people would believe that social media is not supposed to be that affected because, of course, you go there to make money, do business, be informed, to fall out of depression, like just have fun. But if that is also part of it, so what are the common misconceptions that people really don't know about this Neo-Paganism, and how can it be addressed?
Okay. Some of the common misconceptions is that, like I mentioned before, that God delays answers. God delays answers. And since answers must be got the way we want it, they have to look for the answers anyhow. And one of these answers is money. So another thing is that they do not know that before you get into getting money that way, let's sound spiritual. this time. You must have a covenant. Covenant, once you are tilting towards that dimension. And this covenant cannot be a very good covenant. Sometimes they get into this covenant, you know, it's a pact. You do this for me, I do the other one for you. And sometimes they forget the things they've agreed that they will be doing when money comes eventually. And they go to wherever they wish to. And, you know, the satanic forces, you cannot tell me that I'm in Enugu, this devil doesn't know Enugu. He will come there. He will demand of me my own part of this agreement. And sometimes I have forgotten it. So other conceptions is that there must be money. That it's money that speaks. Other conceptions include the fact that I must be like Okeke. I must be like Okafor. Those things should not hold. The idea of working hard, dignity of labor, is getting quickly jettisoned. Some persons, some parents who have tutored their children in the way to work hard, they cannot regret it. And these people that are working towards Neo Paganism don't have it as anything they should go by. Now, how to address these things is about education. Education, proper guidance, parents, religious leaders, the government should engage them. Because I maintain that an idle mind is a devil's workshop. When they are engaged, properly engaged, for instance, it is done and everybody is looking for where, everybody is going to a particular place for work or one work or the other. Now, people will not be thinking about a lot of things, going to Okite or whatever. And we, the religious leaders, should also learn something very significant. That when you promote only money, those who have made money, and you don't care about those who are poor, who have really worked and sacrificed a lot for the church or for the society. For instance, there is title taking, and you don't bother about the fact that this person has made a lot of efforts in the society. This person has made the effort to train people, and this person is not buoyant anymore. When you discuss titles, this person should be part of it. So these are the things we will need to project in order to address these things and to make them know that money is not everything. That somebody may be buoyant today, tomorrow the person is not buoyant. And most importantly, what happens after here? This is the thing we must inculcate into the lives of our youth, making them know that after here, there's another there, heaven at last.
So our very Reverend Father Benjamin, I'm curious to know, you mentioned that if you were to pick out one of the major factors of neopaganism, you point out social media, if I hear you correctly.
Yes.
Don't you think religious leaders could also be part of that? Because why I'm coming in is because of how some youths are treated, how they feel when they go to most of these Christian centers, so to speak. Some of them, maybe they don't have their head tied. Some churches are very strict with the rules and regulations for the church and all of that. And somehow the way they are treated as well, many youths feel, they don't feel safe in some cases in church. They would rather choose an umbrella, a canopy that works for them. They like, some of them will even come out and say they're atheists. Some would even come out to mention different religion that they belong to because of the different ways they've been treated going to church. Do you think some churches really need to sit up and then know how they will go about relating with youth? Because the times of parents are now different from the time it's now. Do you think churches could also, churches, religious leaders could also be contributive in this very factor?
I agree with you completely there. Some of us are part of the problem. What we preach and how we preach them. How we look at these youth. Some of us do not know that these youth, they have their own world. What I mean by world is they have their own ideology, their worldview, the way they look at things. And it is not out of place because man is a developmental animal. Man develops. And as one develops, he comes to every stage and he exhausts the stage and exploits it entirely. If that doesn't happen positively, there will be what we call fixation in psychology. This fixation is a situation where a trait you didn't exploit well will be transferred into the next stage. And when the state that should be there is battling with a state that should have been left behind, there's a commotion in character. And so the religious leader, that's one of the good things we are doing now. That some of them are looking at us and listening to us and seeing what we are doing. I hope you are in YouTube so that people can eventually look at what we are doing.
Of course,
that religious, yes,
right,
so that religious leaders should understand that we should take it easy with these guys, because their world is different from our world. When you talk about media, many of our adults don't know how to handle some of these things, but they know it. They know these things. They are advanced, more advanced than most of their parents. I'm not talking about experience now, but everyday experience.
Yeah.
Now, religious leaders should take it easy with them. Parents should also take it easy with them. Once upon a time, I was handling a problem where an old man came to tell me that I don't know what this boy is calling me, his son. He's calling me Popsy. It was a problem. And the man said, I don't know the meaning of Popsy. He should not call me Popsy.
Wow.
Now, I called the guy. I said, do you call him Popsy? He said, yes. I think your father doesn't like it. So help him by stopping it. These are two worldviews. The man doesn't understand Popsy. But this generation will understand Mom say Popsy is not a problem.
At all.
So look at where the man is. Look at where the young man, the son is.
Yeah.
And so all of us should put hands together and listen to them. This is a situation, it's like a small child asking you, Mommy or Daddy, why is banana bent? You have to be patient enough to explain the little you know, and explain it satisfactorily, because if you don't explain it very well, and this child goes out to get a different thing, the child becomes a cankerworm to the family.
Okay, just before we conclude our conversation, where do you see the future of Neo Paganism? How will it affect the youth and all that? Knowing that we have a society that is dominated by traditional belief.
By traditional belief, I want to understand that talking about beliefs, faiths that are already there.
Yes, faiths are already there.
Like
yes.
Christianity, Islam. I wouldn't want to discuss Islam. I would want to discuss my Christianity.
That's fine.
Very good. The future, Neo-Paganism has no future to offer. It has no future to offer because it cannot interact with normal tradition, the Omena and Andebany, our people's way of doing their things, culture. Neo-Paganism cannot interact with that. Neo-Paganism cannot interact with Christianity because the tenets of Christianity contradict entirely the tenets of Neo-Paganism, each of them. We don't believe in killing. We don't believe in homicide, killing. You have killed somebody purposely. We don't believe in mercy killing. We don't believe, there are a lot of things we don't believe in, which Neo-Paganism believe in. We preach purity. We preach love and care for one another, their parents. But this Neo-Paganism thing does not care at all. Neo-Paganism is contradicting the philosophy of our tradition. It's not about whether you believe in our ancestors or whether you believe in Jesus Christ. That's not the point now. But I'm telling you that Neo-Paganism contradicts the original traditional things that we know, the real omena of our people. Neo-Paganism is not tradition. Neo-Paganism, magic is not tradition, which some of them do. It's not our tradition. These things are alien to what we are doing. And so, Neo-Paganism has no future to offer. It will offer destruction, disaster, confusion. Because I still believe that there's dignity in labor. I still believe that there's need for expertise. I still believe that those who are looking for employees, those who want to employ people, will eventually look for those who are credible, not those who get money, whether it is okay or not. So there's need for us to get into things that will give us better future. And Neo-Paganism has nothing futuristic to give.
Yeah, before we conclude on this, I'm very curious to find out, you've clearly stated this based on your belief as a Christian, and the Reverend Father that you are. But this may not be the path for many youths out there, So considering the factors we've looked at now, how churches and role leaders, public religious leaders rather, could be misleading some youths based on their actions, innocently not knowing. give you Nigeria 5-10 years. Do you see new paganism reducing, dying, or growing? Number one. And what is the advice for youths regarding this kind of religious belief, so to speak, that is all over the place?
Now, the growth of neo-paganism will depend on the way we get back to the drawing board. It will depend entirely on our ability. We teachers, we formators, we parents, the government officials, those who are on top, decision makers. It depends on how fast we're able to get to the drawing board and look at things we have not been able to get well. Youth need attention. They need attention, and I am convinced that we are not, by we, I mean the generality of the people, those on top, are not giving all the attention needed that these young boys and girls need. They do not have that. They do not give all the attention. And so, the case that, I think I'm leaving the trend of thought now, what's the second question?
How can, what's the advice you have for youths?
The advice I have for youth is that people will say in Igbo, Ozuna maga akpu ogene ne egbe anya n'ọdụ. That means a blacksmith who does not know how to make a metallic gong should look at the tail of the kite because they look alike. We should look back and see people who have really done very well. The youth should be industrious, embrace skill acquisition, so such that if there's no job anywhere, you employ yourself and employ others. You should be industrious. Parents should actually work very hard in making youth know the truth. That's what I have.
All right. Thank you so much, our very Reverend Father Benjamin Chinedu. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right.
And God bless you.
Yeah, it's been such an amazing time to discuss faith and new paganism, a concern for today's youth with the Reverend Father